Hey guys, Wet Movie 1 back here again for a new video series for you guys today. In this series, I'm going to be talking about different movies and TV shows I've watched in the past week. I'm going to be trying to, do this video series every Friday, as long as this quarantine is happening. And, just to let you guys know what movies or TV shows I've been watching and if I recommend any of them to you guys. And since you guys all know, I recently got a Roku and stuff, like, a month or two before I moved to this new place. So I've been, getting into watching a lot of stuff on, Netflix, Disney Plus, Vudu, and everything like that. And I'm going to tell you, what platforms I've been watching certain movies on and everything like that, in case you guys have, Roku or any of these other, apps, on your television set. But I'm going to talk about, like some of the things like I've watched since last Friday. And the first thing I've watched was on Netflix, and it's this new, what's it called? Mini-series or docu-series called Tiger King. This is a mini-series that everyone and their mom is talking about. There's all these different memes, that are popping up on Facebook and Instagram and all these different social media sites. And it's a Netflix original about these people hoard or collect tigers and animals and different things, mostly tigers, and it follows these different cliques of people. Like one guy, he's the Tiger King, and he has his little group of misfits that help run his little zoo that he has going on. There's this other lady named Carol Baskin who has her little thing going on, but she may or may not have killed her ex-husband for his money. And then there's this other guy that has like his own little zoo thing going on with all these different tigers, and he has like all these girlfriends or wives or people he's having sex with, and how these groups of people like intermingle somehow with one another and don't like one another, or just bicker at one another. It's a really weird thing, and at first when I was watching the first 2 episodes of it, I'm going, why are people liking this so much? Like the first episode, I'm like, this is kind of stupid. I don't think I really care that much, But then after you finish the second episode, you kind of get hooked to it. You kind of want to finish the series. It's definitely not the best made documentary I've ever seen or anything like that, but it is really enjoyable. And like I said, I don't see why, but at the same time I kind of see why it's getting all this buzz, because one, everyone's stuck in home, have nothing to do or watch, so they're watching that. So I get it. Do I recommend you guys check out Tiger King? Yeah, well, if you guys are just sitting at home doing nothing and you want to see a handful of really weird, cringy people, yeah, I guess. That one I watched on Netflix. And the second thing I watched on Netflix was Birdbox, Sandra Bullock. And I know this was like a real popular movie a few years ago. Like everyone was doing like the Birdbox challenge and wearing their the blindfolds and like doing stupid shit outside and like getting in trouble and everything for it. Like I remember that. But at the time, I never had Netflix or Roku or any of that stuff, so I'm just recently getting into this and discovering certain movies like that. And it's about this lady, it's like the apocalypse is going on. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, the world's starting to change. Like some sort of big thing is happening out there, kind of like right now. And if you open your eyes and you look at it, if you see a certain something, it'll like make you kill yourself, kind of thing. And it's just about how a small group of people are trying to save themselves, and and what happens during that kind of apocalypse thing. And it was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable thriller. I really did dig it. I don't see why people got all crazy with it and started like doing the Birdbox challenge kind of videos and stuff, but whatever. I mean, it was an enjoyable thriller in my opinion, and that one of course I watched on Netflix. And the other movie that I watched was one of my favorite movies of all time, which I have on DVD. It's called Angus. It's about this fat kid that gets picked on in school, and this is him trying to overcome the bullying in school. It's also stars my friend Charlie Talbert, Chris Owen, who you guys know, who played the Shermanator and the American Pie franchise, and of course James Vanderbeek. Dawson from Dawson's Creek as the main bad guy. It's a really cool show. I mean, really cool movie. And the thing is, I've had the DVD for years, autographed, by Charlie Talbert, the main character who played Angus. But I finally saw the movie for the very first time on Vudu, because it was in HD. This is the first time I ever seen the movie in high definition, and it was just really, a really enjoyable watch, seeing it in better quality than, like a DVD-R version of the film. That's one, like I said, Angus is one of my favorite films of all time. Highly recommend you guys check that one out. Like, I'll try to have trailers to these movies and TV shows I'm talking about, if there are, on YouTube or whatever, in the description box of this video, so you guys can check them out for yourself. But Angus, one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time, and I highly recommend any of you guys check out that film right there. And the next one up that I watched on Vudu also was Sonic the Hedgehog movie, the one that stars, Jim Carrey. And I saw it in theaters for like the first 45 minutes. I was in the theater with my homeboy Ethan, my nephew Ethan, and like 45 minutes into it or so, he got all antsy and wanted to leave, so I never got to finish the movie. And so my friend Cody Blythe, he lets me share his Vudu account that he has, Cody and the House of Geek here on YouTube. Me and him and a couple of friends, we share this Vudu account. And he ended up getting that one on that Vudu account, so I ended up watching it, and it was okay. You know what I mean? It has some fun moments in it. You see, I'm glad they fixed up, this whole Sonic, the way they animated him and everything like that. But, I do like how Jim Carrey was acting. His acting was cool. He kind of reminiscent of his old school, acting from the 90s and things like that. I love that. But as a movie as a whole, I couldn't really get into it. I was sitting here watching it with Ethan in my room, and I was having a hard time going, oh, this is awesome. It wasn't bad. It's just one of those ones I don't think I ever need to watch again, or really need to buy on physical media, in my opinion. So I'm glad I got to see that one on Vudu in HD or whatever. And the next one I watched was a comedy special, because with all this stuff going on, being cooped up in the house all the time, I want to watch light, funny things too. So I watched a stand-up comedy special, Sarah Silverman's newest comedy special that's on Netflix, called Sarah Silverman, A Speck of Dust. And I believe it was filmed at the Largo and Coronet, that the little comedy venue that's in Hollywood, where I got to meet, like Bobcat Goldthwait and Judd Apatow. I got to talk to him a couple of times at different, comedy shows that I went to at that same venue that the Sarah Silverman special was shot at. And it was actually pretty funny. I've always been a fan of Sarah Silverman ever since the first time I seen her make a little guest appearance on this old public access TV show that I used to watch sometimes back in the day, called Colin Sleazy Friends. And Colin Sleazy Friends was like a public access show where he mostly interviewed porn stars and stuff like that. It got real cringy, but every once in a while he would have like rock stars on, or people like Jack Black, or some I believe like the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And Sarah Silverman was one of the guests one time, and it was just really funny to see her on there being interviewed along with some like really like slutty porn stars at the time, trying to rub up on her. It was kind of really weird, back in the day. But like, it was just one of those things when you're a teenager and you come across a show like that, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I'm gonna watch this. But yeah, the Sarah Silverman, The Speck of Dust. If you like comedy specials and you like her sense of humor, I recommend you guys check that one out. But the next one I watched was Dark Water. This one right here is put out by Universal Home Entertainment. I got a review copy in a couple weeks ago, but then when I went through the whole move and then the whole outbreak happened, so I'm just like, shit, I never got around to watching it until now. And yeah, I just want to say thank you, Universal, for sending this one over. And this one right here stars Mark Ruffalo, Anne Hathaway, Tim Robbins, and Bill Pullman, who I've always loved since Casper and stuff. And it just shows the ins and outs of how big corporations really don't care about the little people out there in the world, and how this one big corporation is like polluting the water in this small town, and it's causing people to get cancer, have the animals that they have in their farms die, and all sorts of different things that are happening. It's really messed up kind of film. But Mark Ruffalo plays a lawyer who is there trying to go against the big bad corporations and take them out for doing the bad things that they're doing. It's actually a really decent thriller film, but it's also one of those movies I don't see myself having to watch over and over again. either. You know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those one-time watch kind of flicks. But it was highly enjoyable. Did like the acting in here. I do like the dark color palette that they had going on in this film. But yeah, if you guys see it out there, rental wise, or you see it for on Vudu or something like that, you can get for cheap rental. I recommend you guys check it out. It was worth a watch. But the next one up I watched was something else from my my DVD collection that I've had for years, and that is a Jet Li classic called The Master. This one right here is put out by the it's put out by the Weinstein Company, or Dimension Films from back in the day. They had like this whole collection of Jet Li films and stuff like that they were like putting out on physical media. A lot of them have like the same kind of like spine covers and color palette, like the poster with the red, and then, what I mean, like they had that whole the same kind of thing. I have a bunch of them in my collection over there. I haven't watched this one in a long time. It's about Jet Li's character, who's a martial art expert, who's coming down to like LA or whatever to visit his master that he hasn't seen for a very long time. And when he comes to town, he finds out his master's gotten beaten up and like has disappeared, and his old dojo has gotten like demolished, pretty much. And it's pretty much him trying to find his master and what's going on, and everything. And it's just him kicking his way, kicking his way through justice, if you know what I'm saying. Has really cool action sequences in here, really great fight scenes. If you're a fan of Jet Li, highly recommend The Master here on DVD. I don't know if it's on HD or on the digital platforms or anything like that. I just busted it out of my collection, because most of the movies I have on display in my room right now are all my martial art collection, because that's what I really love and everything. But the next thing I watched was on Netflix, and I was really happy that because I forgot it came out. Okay, because I believe it's a Netflix original. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a movie called Peewees Big Holiday, and I was just like, oh shit. I have a list right here, but Pee-wee's Big Holiday, and I've been a big fan of Pee Wee Herman since I was a kid, watching Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, all that jazz. And I knew this movie came out and it was on Netflix, but like I said, I've never got Roku, and never watched Netflix and all that stuff until recently. So I'm like, oh shit, I got to get up on this. So I watched it, and it's pretty much Pee-wee in his little town, that he lives in, working at this restaurant, being a chef and everything. Until one day a biker dude, a famous biker dude, comes rolling into town saying, "Hey man, do you want to live your life? Meet me in New York City, and get there in a couple days for my birthday party," kind of thing. And Pee-wee is like, "Oh, I don't never left my small town before," like all this kind of shit. And then it's pretty much his adventure trying to get from his little town all the way to New York City, and what happens along the way. I dig it, man. I dig it. I always loved Paul Reubens, man. He always can bring a smile to my face. Now, I was glad I watched it, especially during a time like this. It takes my mind off of things for a little bit. So Pee-wee's Big Holiday, highly recommend you guys check out if you guys have a Netflix account. I'm not sure if it got a physical media release or not. Did it? Let me know in the comments. I don't know if it's been on Blu-ray or not. It might have been, because I know I have the soundtrack to it that I got at the signing when Pee-wee signed my Pee-wee's Playhouse set that I have. Blu-ray, DVD, Blu-ray autograph collection coming soon. And next up, the next couple things I watched were shit. I should have pulled it out of my collection so I can like hold it up and stuff. But oh well. I watched Halloween 2 and Halloween 4 back to back the other night with my nephew Ethan, because he's into the Halloween franchise and everything like that. And we were, since we're locked down in here, he came in. He's like, Brendan, or he calls me BJ because my middle name's John. He goes, BJ, could we watch Halloween? I'm like, which one? He's like, Halloween Hospital. Halloween Hospital. You mean Halloween 2? Because, Halloween 2 takes place at the hospital and everything like that. So we watched Halloween 2. And I'm like, which one do you want to watch next? And he's like looking at the box set that I have that's signed and everything, which you guys will see in a future video. He was just like, this one, and it was number 4, because like, no, I know people, there's a lot of people that don't like, Halloween 3. I kind of dig Halloween 3, but we skipped Halloween 3, went to Halloween 4, and we watched those two from the Scream Factory set that we have. Really enjoyed those ones. I really like Danielle Harris. Been a fan of hers for a very long time. And one of the other ones that I watched during this quarantine was the Tuxedo I didn't actually watch my actual DVD edition of this one starring Jackie Chan and Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's actually on HD, in HD on Netflix. So I ended up watching the HD version of it because this film has never been released on Blu-ray, at least out here in the States. But this one's a kind of a wacky one where Jackie Chan's like a taxi driver, kind of guy, and he's working for this really rich guy, and he finds out that this rich guy has this suit. If you put it on, you can do like weird, spectacular things, like flip, dip, and kick people's asses. It's kind of cool. Jennifer Love Hewitt plays like a spy that helps him out along the way. If you guys have never seen The Tuxedo, it's definitely not Jackie Chan's best movie, but it does have a lot of funny moments in it. And this is one of the ones that I did watch, during this, lockdown, but on Netflix in HD. But I'm keeping this DVD because there's special features on it that are not on digital. But the last movie I watched was on Netflix, and it's a movie called Young Adults, starring Charlize Theron. And I think I remember seeing this one in my Blockbuster when I was, still working there and everything. But I don't think I've ever actually got around to watching it until now. And it's pretty much Charlize Theron's character. She plays like a 30-something, late 30s lady who's a writer of this like young adult kind of book series that's not really as popular as it used to be. And she finds out that her ex that she really loved in high school is having his first baby, and she wants to go down to visit him to try to persuade him to come back with her. And it's just the weirdness that happens from there. I really did enjoy the performances in there. You get her, you also get Patton Oswalt in this film. So if you guys have never seen that one, I say check it out. I can't say I highly recommend it, but I thought the acting and the pacing of the film was really well done and really nicely put together. But that's pretty much all the movies and TV show stuff I've watched since last Friday. Being cooped up on lockdown in this house, with all this stuff that's going on in the world. But if you guys like this series right here, and you guys would like to, see what I watched, then, next Friday, if you want me to do another one of these next Friday, let me know in the comments. And if you guys do, please, let's see if we can get this video up to 400 or maybe 500 thumbs up. If you guys do, I'll do one of these videos every Friday, talking about what I've watched and everything like that. But thank you guys so much for coming by, supporting my channel. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.